Petra Clenell is charged with grievous bodily harm on her husband, Alan. The jury in this trial has been selected from members of the public whose names appeared on the electoral register and who are eligible for jury service. They will reach their own unscripted verdict.
It is the prosecution's case that the accused is indeed guilty of the most vicious attack upon her husband, that her attack was sudden and violent, and that it ended with her husband falling to his knees, bloody and helpless.
One moment, Mr. Golding. What's wrong with the lights over there?
My lord, apparently some of the fuses have blown due to a leak in the roof. The water is seeping into some of the wires. An electrician is looking into the matter at the moment.
Well, can the jury see any papers they may have to read?
I believe they can, my lord.
Oh, very well. The jury may well feel that they're in a somewhat dimly lit nightclub, but you may disillusion them, Mr. Golding.
My lord, with apologies for not sounding like Mr. Frank Sinatra, the evidence will show that from the moment Alan Clenell arrived home on that evening of September the 17th, his wife, the accused, had but one thought: to inflict grievous wounds upon his body.
Hello.
Hi.
You look tired.
I didn't sleep very well.
Would you like some coffee?
No, I'm on after the opening speeches.
I can get a cup from the machine.
No, you go to the canteen, Joyce. I'll stay here.
I'll wait until you're cold.
You don't have to.
I had breakfast before I left.
You don't have to watch me. Treat me like an overgrown child.
Don't play games. Putting me in the wrong.
I wasn't.
Where's Sally?
Coming with her aunt.
Alan, why are you so guilty?
I didn't want this place seeping into her.
What do you mean?
My daughter, Sally. I'm sorry she had to be involved. Didn't want to hear any longer than necessary. Law courts, hospitals, churches, points of crisis, legal, physical, spiritual. They all smell. Dry aridity, disinfectant, damp earth. Sans eyes, sans teeth, sans everything. Keep children away from that as long as possible. Innocence. That's the only quality worth anything. Innocence. Do you understand?
Give it to me.
What?
The bottle.
What I do is my own business.
I warned you, it's rare alcoholics can return to social drinking.
I just want to steady myself.
Topping up. Don't treat me like an idiot.
You're worse than my wife.
Who has to pick up the pieces, Alan?
Nobody's asking you. Not this time.
Mr. Alan Clenell.
Give it to me. You can't take it in with you, can you? Oh, come on. Give it to me.
Derek Sissons, QC, appears for the defence and Marcus Golding, QC, for the prosecution. Mr. Justice Ashley presides in the case of the Queen against Clenell.
What religion are you?
Church of England.
Take the Bible in your right hand. Read aloud the words on the card.
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
You are Alan Clenell, and you live at Dean House, Beryl Road, Fulchester.
That's right.
And you are the husband of the accused.
Yes.
Now, will you please tell the court what occurred on the evening of September the 17th last year?
I got home around 9. My wife was in the sitting room. There was a fire burning, a log fire. I said, "That looks nice." My wife didn't reply. I thought, well, I knew, really. She was angry.
Because she didn't answer you or greet you?
That's right.
And what had you done to make her angry?
I phoned about 6 to say that I had to entertain some people, a Japanese business delegation. I told her I'd be home as soon as possible, but soon wasn't good enough. I should have gone straight home and lost my company £500,000 worth of business. Then my wife would have been happy.
Yes. You arrived home, your wife not speaking to you, and then what happened?
I asked her where the children were. Of course, I knew they were in bed, but it's just something you say, isn't it?
Did your wife reply this time?
No, she didn't. She was watching the television with the sound turned down and listening to a record, Shostakovich the 5th. It was very loud, so I turned it down and went into the kitchen to look for my supper. There was a dirty plate on the stove and a newspaper beside it with something wrapped in it. So I opened it, steak and courgettes, which I took to be my supper.
Your wife had thrown it away?
That's right.
Were you surprised?
No, this wasn't the first time it had happened. I went back into the room. Petra hadn't moved. I stood in the doorway and asked her why she'd thrown my supper away. She knelt on the floor. I hadn't noticed before, but there was some material and scissors and things. She'd been making something. She picked up the scissors and started to cut the cloth. And then she asked me why I was late. And I told her that I'd been with the Japanese delegation.
Yes. This delegation was important, was it?
Yes, I had absolutely no choice but to stay with them.
And you explained this to your wife?
That's right.
How did she react?
She stood up, came across the room with the scissors.
Yes. Show him Exhibit 1, please. Now, are those the scissors, Mr. Clenell?
Yes.
Quite large, very sharp scissors for dressmaking. Now, will you please show us just how your wife was holding them?
Like this.
And she crossed the room holding them like that?
Yes.
Quite clearly, she was coming towards you with an aggressive intention.
There's absolutely no doubt about that.
And what did you do?
Nothing.
You mean you didn't take any defensive action?
Well, I told her to stop play acting and turned to go out of the room.
Wasn't that a bit unwise?
Not really. We've been married for 16 years and we've had some pretty violent rows. Verbally violent, I mean, but we've never attacked each other, never with a weapon. I just didn't believe that she would do it. Tried to stab me. I was totally unprepared for what she did.
Yeah. Tell the court what happened then, please.
I turned away from her to go upstairs, and I heard Petra scream, and I felt a pain in my right shoulder blade, to the side, just underneath, and then this searing pain down my back.
Yes. My lord, I would like to refer to the medical report at this stage.
Mr. Sessions?
No objections, my lord. The report has been agreed.
Well, have the jury got copies?
They have, my lord.
Oh, the print's rather small. Can they see to read?
Yes, my lord.
Oh, very well.
The report states that the wound at the base of the right shoulder blade, although superficial, extended downward for 6 inches and required 12 stitches. Now, what were you wearing at that time, Mr. Clenell?
A shirt and a jacket.
So the scissors penetrated both those garments and into your back?
That's right.
Yes. And your wife is quite a lightly built woman, isn't she?
Yes, it must have been a pretty fierce lunge she made.
Were you able to defend yourself after that blow?
No, I felt rather stunned. I remember leaning against the doorpost for a moment, my eyes filled with water. I put my hand to my back under my jacket and felt my shirt all wet, the warmth of the blood trickling down. Then I heard Petra make some kind of a noise, and I thought, if I don't move, she's going to kill me. So I turned with my arm out, ready, and I hit her away with my left hand. I tried to grab the scissors, but she twisted out of my grasp. And then she struck at my chest. I stepped back, and the scissors went into my side. I collapsed to my knees, caught Petra around the legs. She fell over, screaming. The scissors went into my thigh. I had to pull them out.
And did you hold on to them?
No, I felt sick. I must have dropped them. I thought if I faint, I mustn't faint. So I stood up and started to go towards the door. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Petra with the scissors again. I turned, caught her by the arm, and started shouting at her, "Are you mad? Are you mad?" trying to bring her round. And then I heard a cry from the door. I turned. It was my daughter, Sally. Petra saw her and dropped the scissors. I tried to tell Sally to go to bed. But she started screaming. And then I blacked out.
Yes. Did you attack your wife, Mr. Clenell?
No.
Did you do anything which she might have interpreted as an attack?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing at all.
Thank you.
On the night in question, you telephoned your wife at 6, you said.
That's right.
And then you went to a pub.
Club.
Oh, sorry, club. And what did you do?
What do you mean?
At the club.
We had a drink.
One. Singular.
Not many.
Now, how many?
I didn't count.
3, 6? 9, 15, 20?
About 3.
3. 3 drinks in 3 to 4 hours.
I arrived at the club at 6 o'clock and I left at 8 o'clock. Your mathematics are a bit out.
Ah. You left just after 8. How long a drive is it from your club to your home? 10, 15 minutes?
About that.
And you drove?
I drove home, yes.
So you left just after 8, and then after this 10 to 15-minute drive, you arrived home.
That's right.
Go the long way round, did you?
Well, maybe I left nearer to 8:30.
And when you arrived home, you asked if your children were in bed, and they were.
I've already said that, yes.
Now, what time does your daughter, your elder daughter, 13 years of age, normally go to bed?
I really don't know.
I do. She doesn't normally go to bed until 10 o'clock.
This must have been an abnormal night.
Oh, yes, that it certainly was. Now, you didn't arrive at the casualty department of the hospital until 10:30. But according to you, this alleged attack by your wife took place soon after you got home, around about 9 o'clock. Were you lying on the floor bleeding for an hour and a half?
Maybe I got home a bit later.
Closer to 10 o'clock, perhaps.
Well, I wasn't looking at the clock all night.
So far from my mathematics being out, you may well have had 3 to 4 hours drinking time.
Come to your point, Mr. Sissons.
My lord. I have here a list of patients admitted to Fulchester Hospital some 18 months ago. You were a patient at that time, weren't you, Mr. Clenell? You were in for some 10 days with a course of detoxification. Am I correct?
Yes.
Before I go into the details of the events of September the 17th, I should like to ask you a few questions about this alcoholism of yours.
Past alcoholism, I was cured.
Gentlemen, we now seem to have lost all our lights. We will therefore adjourn for lunch and reassemble at 2 p.m. or when the fuses are mended, whichever's the later.
All stand.
You do admit to being an alcoholic.
I was treated for alcoholism, yes.
Once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. Isn't that what they say?
It isn't correct.
You'd been drinking with the Japanese delegation. What, spirits?
What? Gin and tonics? Yes.
Do you think it possible that during the conversation you drank more gin and tonics than you were aware of?
No, I do not think it possible. I was sipping my drinks, enjoying my drinks, like any social drinker.
You weren't drunk when you got home?
I most certainly wasn't drunk.
You weren't falling about, aggressive, abusive, violent?
Alcoholics don't behave like that.
But you've already told us you are no longer an alcoholic.
I meant the man that has a drink every day knows what quantity he needs. He never drinks more than this, and he doesn't get drunk.
And you knew how much you could drink that particular evening?
Yes.
How much your body needed?
I didn't need to drink.
Well, then why were you drinking at all?
You're twisting what I'm saying.
But you were drinking.
How many times? Yes, I was in a club drinking.
1 drink too many, 21 not enough. Isn't that what they say?
Who are the magical they?
I thought alcoholics weren't supposed to drink.
They're not.
But you're different.
I'm not different.
But you were drinking.
As a company director, it is necessary for me to entertain directors from other companies.
Well, this club of yours, don't they sell orange juice? Have you never heard of tonic water?
Yes, I suppose they do.
But you were drinking.
Oh, my lord, this constant repetition of the same questions over and over again is tedious and unnecessary and very trying for the witness.
Yes, Mr. Sissons, you have rather laboured the point.
My lord. Now, there are some unlucky people for whom alcohol is a poison. It reduces them to a state of helpless addiction. Hence the saying, 1 drink too many, 21 not enough. What have you got to say to that?
After my treatment 18 months ago, I was abstinent for over 1 year. You can't go from being an alcoholic to a social drinker overnight.
I'm sure every abstinent alcoholic cherishes the lingering hope that he may one day be able to return to normal social drinking. I wonder how often that actually happens.
Not often, but it can and does happen sometimes.
This spell in hospital 18 months ago, it wasn't your first, was it?
No.
You were first treated 6 years ago, weren't you?
You seem to have all the answers.
Would you tell us about that treatment?
How does that matter bear upon this case?
Oh, my lord, it is of paramount importance. Without an explanation and an exploration of the past, this court will be ill-equipped to make any assessment of what actually happened on September the 17th.
Oh, very well.
How did you come to be admitted to the hospital?
I was in a car accident. I broke my leg and I was in for 10 days.
And so you didn't go in for treatment for your drinking?
Nobody knew about it.
Well, how did they find out?
After 3 days, I started to get the DTs.
Delirium tremens. Would you explain that condition to us?
It's a sort of disorientation. I began not to know where I was. I thought the nurses were waitresses. I thought I was in a bistro that I often use. I started calling the doctors by the names of the Italian waiters. Of course, they wouldn't serve me, so I'd get angry, and then I'd laugh and offer everybody a drink. But the drinks never came. And when you don't know where you are, there's a mood of apprehension. Nothing stays solid, but is solid. I remember I was told there was a clock on the wall, and I was asked to tell the doctor the time. I told him. Later, when I recovered, I remembered this incident and the clock quite clearly. But the wall was bare. I asked the doctor, "Where's the blue clock with the white face and the black dials?" He told me it had only existed in my imagination. And later, when you're on your own trying to pick things up, imaginary things, burning cigarettes, cards, bed bugs, big black bed bugs. I saw that clock as clearly as I can see you.
And how long did this go on?
2 days. One night and one morning, going into 2 days.
And this disorientation, did it get worse?
Much worse. Much worse.
How did it get worse?
Being threatened on all sides. Fighting off attackers. Strangers with no faces. All eyes.
You started hallucinating.
Horses racing at great speed. Hands on a steering wheel. Cornering visor spattered with blood. Huge, great flying beetles circling around my head. Every so often trying to get their pincer claws into my eyes. The blankets coming over my chest. Trying to get over my face. To cover my mouth. More blankets coming across the floor.
The blankets were crawling across the floor.
Trying to suffocate me. And more huge flying beetles going around my head. If only I could get my head under the blanket.
But you couldn't because they would have suffocated you.
Oh.
Are you quite well, Mr. Clenell?
Yes.
Won't you take a drink of water?
Thank you.
Or would you prefer a gin and tonic?
My lord, such a remark is totally uncalled.
Yes, I quite agree, Mr. Sissons. That is a most improper remark.
I apologize, my lord.
You should know better.
Except that my case is that it's true.
If that were so, you should have waited and put the question properly when the witness had refreshed himself. You may continue, but I warn you not to test my patience.
Very well, my lord. Would you tell us what happened next? The doctor came, didn't he?
I thought he was going to kill me. I told him to get it over with. But they put me on drugs.
And the hallucinations went?
Yes, they did.
Why are you so nervous now, Mr. Clenell?
I'm not nervous.
Nervous and jumpy, I would have said. You weren't nervous at the start of this cross-examination.
My lord, the witness has been dragged over what must have been an emotional and disturbing experience. I suggest that a brief adjournment would be appropriate for him to recover a little.
Are you able to continue, Mr. Clenell?
Yes.
Very well. You may proceed, Mr. Sissons.
In your evidence in chief, you said to my learned friend, with reference to your wife, we've had some violent rows, verbal violence. We've never attacked one another, never with a weapon. Why did you say never with a weapon?
It was an expression.
Perhaps you attacked one another with your fists?
No, certainly not.
Or your forehead?
What? What do you mean?
I'm talking about 2 years ago when you broke your wife's nose.
Oh, come on. That was at a dance. We were dancing and we bumped our heads. My forehead hit her nose. There was never any question of me hitting her. It was a total accident.
But you were in one of your drinking states at the time, weren't you?
Yes.
And you'd had a row, hadn't you, about her looking at another man?
Not a row, exactly.
One of the manifestations of your drinking is irrational jealousy, isn't it?
I do get jealous.
You don't trust your wife, do you? You think she plays around?
No, I do not.
Only when you've been drinking heavily, is that it? And I suggest that you had been drinking heavily on September the 17th. And that in a moment of insane and irrational jealousy, you attacked your wife and threatened to kill her.
She stabbed me!
I suggest that you had her pressed against the wall and were trying to strangle her. And that she, in terror, put her arm around your back and stabbed you with a downward thrust that caused that wound.
No, that's not true. That's not true. I think I have to tell you what really happened, the words that were spoken that night. She came across the room and she said to me that I'd ruined her life, that she was brighter than me and had always been. She said she was finished with me, that she'd had enough. Drunk or sober, she'd had enough. She wishes to God she'd never carried my children. I leant against the door and I cried. And then she struck out.
Do you mind putting your hands out in front of you?
What?
Your hands, like this. Put them out in front of you.
What for?
You must do as the defending counsel asks.
Why? Why should I?
Why are you so scared, Mr. Clenell?
I'm not scared.
You're suffering from what is commonly known as the shakes, aren't you? One drink and you'll be perfectly all right. You now have a physiological need for alcohol. You're once more addicted. Your dream of social drinking hasn't worked, has it?
I wasn't that night. It only started later, in the last weeks. When my wife took out divorce proceedings. I love her.
And is that why you're cross-petitioning for divorce?
I love her. Life with her is impossible. Life without her is impossible.
That sounds like a form of hell.
It is.
Of your own making. You must live in it alone.
Mr. Clenell, before your first treatment for alcoholism 6 years ago, how long had you been drinking heavily?
About 8 or 9 years.
And in all that time, had you ever laid a finger on your wife?
No.
What is that?
My lord, the builders repairing the roof. They were told they could start at 4:15 as the court would be adjourned.
Well, we can't compete with that. We will adjourn now. We will meet tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Prompt.
All set.
The cases in Fulchester are fictitious. Join us again tomorrow when the Queen against Clenell will be resumed in the Crown Court. Petra Clenell is charged with wounding her husband Alan with intent to cause grievous bodily harm. Yesterday, under cross-examination, Alan admitted to having been treated twice in the past for his alcoholism.
Mr. Clenell, were you drunk the night your wife attacked you?
No, I felt tired, drained. It had been a long day, and a lot depended upon me selling ideas to the Japanese delegation.
Quite. Now, I want you to think very carefully about my next question, because you might well deceive yourself. Were you on the road back to alcoholism on that night?
Yes, I was. I didn't think I was, but yes.
And did this make you aggressive?
No, I was tired.
And during those previous years of alcoholism, did you ever hit your wife?
Never.
Or your children?
I don't even shout at them. I hide my drinking habits from them, of course. Look, I first started drinking heavily when I was made a company director. I found I couldn't communicate without drink. If I had to stand up and make a proposal to the board, I'd get a pain in my stomach and feel weak. But I found if I had a few drinks before, I'd have more drive, more confidence. I drank for confidence, not to indulge in any grandiose behavior or mad jealousy. I think my drinking is due to weakness. A weak will, if you like. I may be weak, but I am aware of myself. And I do love my wife. But I think that that night she saw that I was on the road back to alcoholism.
Exactly. I have no further questions, my lord. Does your lordship have any?
No.
Alan Clenell has just finished giving his evidence. His wife, Petra Clenell, has been charged with wounding with intent to cause him grievous bodily harm. When he arrived home late one night after entertaining a business delegation, it is alleged she attacked and stabbed him with a pair of scissors.
I call Sally Clenell.
Sally Clenell.
The daughter of the accused has been called to give evidence for the Crown.
Miss Sally, you're going to be asked some questions.
Yes.
And you must answer them truthfully, do you understand?
I must tell the truth or be struck down.
Yes, well, you must tell the truth. You see, sometimes we tell half-truths. We make up our own truths, but you mustn't do that today, even if you find it painful. Do you understand that?
Yes, I mustn't distort the truth. I mustn't be prejudiced one way or the other.
Yes. Well, I think you understand very well.
Will you repeat these words after me?
May I read them myself, please?
Yes.
Take the Bible in your right hand.
Swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
You are Sally Clenell, and you are at present living with your father at Dean House, Beryl Road, Fulchester.
Yes.
Yes. Now, Sally, I want you to tell the court, in your own words, what happened on the night of September the 17th last year.
Well, I spent the evening packing because the following day I was going on a school trip to Paris. I went to bed quite early.
Yes, what time was that?
I don't remember exactly, but it was before 10. I was supposed to be leaving the house at 7. I didn't go in the end.
No. Now, when you went to bed, did you go to sleep?
No, I was too excited. I lay there reading. Then I heard Daddy.
Yes, what exactly did you hear?
His voice in the front door bang.
And what did he say?
Hello, where is everyone?
How did he sound?
Loud. Because there was no one in the hall. He was calling.
Yes, what sort of tone did he use? Was he in a good mood?
My lord, my friend is leading the witness.
Or, as I was about to add, was he in a bad mood?
You left rather a long pause.
My lord.
You must answer the question, Sally.
He sounded quite happy.
And then what happened?
I heard Mummy shouting at him.
And could you hear what she was saying?
No.
What did you do?
I put my hands over my ears.
Your mother's shouting disturbed?
It stopped me reading.
I mean, it made you unhappy?
I hate it when they quarrel.
Oh, you mean they quarrel often?
My lord.
I'll rephrase that question. Had they quarrelled before?
Often. But all parents do, don't they?
How long did you hold your hands over your ears?
Until I heard my mother scream out. Then there was banging and I turned over, but it went on. Then I went down.
You went into the sitting room?
Yes.
And you saw your parents there?
Yes.
Now tell us what you saw, Sally.
Daddy was standing in the middle of the room and Mummy was holding the scissors. She was attacking him. He was swaying as if he was very tired. He told Mummy to put the scissors down. He said she'd done enough already. Then he saw me and he turned and told me to go to bed. And then he fell down and there was blood on his hands.
Thank you, Sally. I have no further questions.
Please, can I go now?
Well, Sally, I think you've been very brave. It cannot be very pleasant to have to recall what happened. But, you know, it's most important that the counsel for the defense should have a chance to ask you some questions.
Sally, I shall ask you as few questions as I possibly can. I just want to go over what you've said. Now, you heard your father call out and then the front door bang. A moment later, you heard your mother screaming. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that all happened very quickly.
Yes.
But you see, your father has told us that he went into the sitting room, and then he went into the kitchen to look for his supper, and then he went back into the sitting room. So it can't have all happened at once.
No.
I see. There was a bit of a pause.
Yes.
Now, in that pause, before you put your hands over your ears, that was when your mother screamed, wasn't it? Yes. And did you hear any banging in the kitchen?
I think so.
A sort of angry banging?
Don't think so.
Did you hear your father shout out, "Where's my supper"?
He might have done.
But when your mother screamed out, your father was silent?
Yes.
When your mother and father had rows, were they always one-sided?
I don't understand.
Or was your father too cowardly to answer back?
No, he shouted back.
But on this evening, you only heard your mother shouting?
Yes.
Or perhaps your father was a bit frightened of your mother. You didn't hear him, he didn't raise his voice.
He said something.
Said what?
He shouted back.
Or what did he shout?
I couldn't hear what they were shouting.
Because you had your hands over your ears?
Yes.
Because your parents were quarreling?
Yes.
Anyway, you heard your father sticking up for himself?
Yes.
You have to put my daughter through this? God forgive you for letting them!
That will do. You will be silent.
That's my daughter. She's not old enough to play your games!
You will be silent. You will not shout from the dock again. Is that clear?
Now, when you went downstairs, you saw your mother attacking your father. Is that correct?
Yes, she was trying to stab him with the scissors.
Wasn't your father doing anything to defend himself?
He was trying to get the scissors.
You mean they were struggling with each other?
Yes.
And then your father saw you?
I screamed.
He turned to you?
Told me to go to bed.
And what did your mother do? Or what did your mother do? Did she plunge the scissors into your father? You say she was trying to. Your father had turned to you. Now was her chance. What did she do?
She dropped the scissors.
You didn't see your father stabbed at all, did you?
No.
All that happened before you went down, didn't it?
Yes.
So what you actually saw, all you saw, was your mother and father struggling with each other.
She stabbed Daddy.
You love your father, don't you?
Yes.
Yes, of course you do. You've already told us he hardly ever shouts at you or your sister.
He never does.
I expect your mother shouts.
Sometimes.
Tells you off, tells you what to do. Warns you that she'll tell your father.
He never does anything.
But you don't see him very often, do you? At work all day, home late most nights.
He leaves presents for the morning sometimes.
Sally, why did you tell us that you saw your mother attacking your father?
Thought she was.
Because your mother does all the telling off and your father brings the presents. You've been doing what his lordship warned you not to do. Seeing the truth as you wanted to, haven't you? Thank you.
Do you love your mother, Sally?
Yes.
Yes. And you do understand that even if your mother and father were fighting with each other, your father wouldn't be in any trouble. You've nothing to cover up for. Do you understand?
I thought he was staggering and blood, and Mummy was white, and her mouth was so angry, and the scissors, it was terrible.
Does your lordship have any questions?
Oh, no. Thank you, Sally. You may go now. There's no need for you to stay in court. Is there someone to take her home?
Her aunt, my lord.
You've been very brave, Sally.
No matter what psychological harm it's done to her.
I warn you for the last time. I wouldn't like to have to finish this case in your absence, but if we have any further outbursts, I shall have no other course left open to me. Now, is that understood?
Would you explain what your relationship with the Clenell family was?
I'm a counsellor working at Fulchester Alcoholic Centre. Just over a year and a half ago, Alan Clenell's doctor referred him to the centre. I interviewed Alan, and after a spell in hospital for detoxification, I became his individual counsellor.
Thank you. Will you now explain your involvement in the events of September the 17th of last year?
Well, it was sometime after 9 when Petra Clenell phoned. I had already gone to bed with a bad headache, but she sounded hysterical. So I said that I'd go straight over and asked if it had something to do with Alan.
And why did you ask that?
Well, it was her husband's alcoholism which first brought me into contact with the Clenells, so it seemed a reasonable assumption. She said, I've stabbed him, I've stabbed Alan, I've lost control.
And those were her exact words. I've stabbed Alan, I lost control.
Yes. I got into my car and drove straight round to their house.
You didn't telephone for an ambulance or the police?
Oh, no, my lord. She was hysterical. I thought that she was probably exaggerating. And I thought it best to keep the police out if possible. They don't like getting involved in domestic situations. Perhaps I should have called a doctor, but in the panic, I did feel some panic. Well, I threw my clothes on and drove straight round there. It took me about 5 minutes. Petra answered the door. She wasn't altogether coherent, but I gathered that Alan had started drinking again and that it had all been too much for her. I found him slumped in a chair in the sitting room. I looked at his wounds and called an ambulance straight away. He'd already lost quite a lot of blood, and I thought the wound in his back might be serious. The wounds in his thigh and side needed stitching, but it was the back wound that worried me.
Did Alan Clenell say anything to him at that time?
Oh, nothing at all, until the following morning when I went to see him in the hospital. Then he told me his wife had attacked him, and he said...
Yes.
Wait a minute, Mrs. Murray. That is hearsay evidence. We are only interested in what you saw and heard, not what you were told.
I'm sorry.
Did Mrs. Clenell tell you what...
One moment, Mr. Golding. When you arrived at the house, the accused said that her husband had been drinking again. Now, did you understand her to mean by that she thought he'd relapsed into alcoholism again?
Yes, she did, my lord.
And in your opinion, was that true?
I don't think that an alcoholic can return to normal social drinking.
Are you saying that what his wife said was correct?
I believe that without counselling, his social drinking was breaking down.
I see. Now, what do you mean by alcoholism? Presumably you have some definition?
Well, that isn't easy, and no single definition can give you the whole picture, but having put that qualification, I would say that an alcoholic is someone who is physiologically and psychologically dependent upon alcohol and doing himself harm.
Well, alcoholism has been referred throughout this case. I think it would be instructive if you could tell us a little more about the condition.
Well, it's generally thought that the drunk who staggers about smelling of whiskey and singing Danny Boy is the alcoholic type. Well, that just isn't true. The vast majority are lonely and quite anonymous. Television concentrates on the pathetic, vagrant alcoholic. You see, the BBC's Edna the Inebriate Woman isn't representative. The media paint a highly dramatic picture. Today's cases become highly dramatic. But I find that at least a third of the people who come to see me are shy and inhibited by basic nature. But of course there are various types of alcoholism.
Can you explain to us what type Alan Clenell falls into?
Well, often the drinking patterns overlap, but Alan was more or less in the regular and restrained pattern. This type drinks regularly every day, but although his capacity might be a bottle of whiskey a day, he doesn't lose control.
Well, are you saying that this type is never violent?
Oh, I'm not using it in that sense. Not control of his feelings, of his emotions. I'm talking about not losing control of the amount that he drinks. You see, if his needs are a bottle of whiskey a day, he will rarely go above that or even get drunk. Oh, there's no reaching under the bed in the middle of the night, because there's a high level of alcohol in the blood from the day before. But he does need that morning drink to keep the level right. So, once the alcohol in the blood drops to a certain level, the regular drinker will begin to feel withdrawn and he'll need to top it up again. So it's a regular topping up process throughout the day.
I see. Well, thank you. Mr. Golding?
Yes, now, where were we?
Where were we? We had just arrived at the house and telephoned for an ambulance.
I'm indebted to your lordship. Whilst you were waiting for the ambulance, did Mrs. Clenell tell you what had happened?
No, she didn't. Her daughter was there.
Now, did Mr. Clenell show any sign of aggression at any point?
None whatsoever.
Now, when the ambulance arrived, what happened?
I went with it.
Mrs. Clenell didn't wish to go?
I didn't ask her.
And why was that?
I didn't have a very good relationship with her.
On what occasions had you met her?
At the individual counselling sessions with Alan.
The wife is included, is she?
Oh, absolutely. Counselling can't be effective without both partners. The other partner's understanding is most important.
And did you find the accused understanding?
Not at all. At first, Alan didn't want her there, but I insisted.
Yes. In what way did you find the accused unhelpful?
Well, she enjoyed cutting Alan down. She said things like he'd been indulged by too many people. She had a great resentment towards him.
Yes, and how did he take this resentment from his wife?
He took it all quietly, philosophically.
He never became violent?
He isn't a violent man.
And what about when he's in this state of alcohol?
Oh, it doesn't change his temperament. I mean, it gives him more confidence, yes, but basically he's the same kind, considerate person. You'd never know he'd been drinking except for a slight slowing down in a more positive manner.
Yes. Now, were you surprised when the accused telephoned and said that she had stabbed her husband?
No, I wasn't.
And why was that?
Well, at the counselling sessions, she had shown a violent temper. Alan once told me that there was a cure open to him, to throw his job in and to leave his wife. This was after a session when she'd threatened to kill him.
Did you tell Alan Clenell to leave his wife?
I would never do a thing like that. We merely discussed the possibilities open to him.
Does your job usually extend to giving that sort of advice?
I did not tell him what to do, but it was obvious that they were destroying each other. But counsellors can't give that kind of specific advice.
Forgive my ignorance, Mrs. Murray. Oh, it is Mrs. Murray, isn't it?
Yes.
But I believe you're divorced.
Yes.
And living alone at present.
Yes.
My lord, I'm not happy with this innuendo. If my learned friend has a point, I wish he would make it.
Innuendo? My lord, I'm not trying to imply anything. I was merely trying to get the record straight.
If you're suggesting that there was something between Alan Clenell and myself, then you are wrong. Obviously, I had, and still have, a relationship with him, not an acquaintanceship. When you counsel a man in dire need of help, you become involved. But that involvement is professional, therapist to patient.
Thank you. However, what I was going to ask was, what sort of people become alcoholic counsellors?
Stable individuals who are able to empathize with the patient and who are able to take charge without making the patient feel uneasy.
And what qualities are necessary?
Well, you have to be able to ask the right kind of questions, know the various types of alcoholism, and make a diagnosis before you decide on the treatment necessary.
What sort of questions?
I go into the alcoholic history, the personality and environment of the individual, both current and background, and then eventually you put all these aspects together.
And what qualifications?
Do you mean have I got?
That'll do.
Well, apart from personal experience, I have for some time been involved in medical social work. And because of my interest in alcoholism, I attended a concentrated educational course, and then a second, more advanced course.
Were these full-time courses?
Full-time courses.
How long did they last?
They were residential summer courses lasting 1 week each.
So from these 2 weeks' training, you're able to make all these decisions you're talking about?
I am also doing an extramural course in social psychiatry.
But you're not a psychiatrist, are you?
No.
Isn't that what the alcoholic needs?
Well, in the past, it was thought by some that alcoholism was a condition secondary to an identifiable neurosis or psychosis. But at least 2/3 of the people who come to see us are uncomplicated. Their personality problems and neurotic behavior are as a result of their drinking, not the cause of their drinking. But if an individual with a gross personality defect comes to us, then of course we send him to a psychiatrist.
But Alan Clenell has a personality defect, doesn't he? Wouldn't you call him a neurotic drinker?
I did say that the patterns overlap.
He started drinking because he couldn't cope with his job. He couldn't stay on top of it without drinking.
But drinking caused the deterioration in his relationship with his wife. That was his main problem. He conquered the job problem.
And as far as his wife was concerned, I thought it was up to you to see the wife's point of view as well.
I tried very hard, but she was suspicious.
But isn't that natural? You listened to her husband. You made no judgments, just listened. She began to feel that she was the guilty one.
I tried, but she wouldn't give.
Because she felt her husband should be doing the giving, not herself.
I thought he stood more of a chance on his own. Perhaps I was wrong.
I suggest, Mrs. Murray, that you stretched yourself too far with this case. That Alan Clenell should have consulted a psychiatrist.
Then we beg to differ.
At your counselling sessions, he listened to his wife's recriminations. And I defy anyone to live with an alcoholic for 15 years and not recriminate. He listened in silence. He didn't respond with open anger. And I suggest that is why your counselling didn't work. He drank to relieve that tension that had built up. And it's true, isn't it, that before such men achieve peace, there is a stage when social control goes. When intoxication dispels the timidity and the caution. It's the Jekyll and Hyde syndrome, isn't it? And it's, in fact, quite likely that it was Alan Clenell who struck out and tried to destroy his wife that night, and that she defended herself against a wild animal.
But timid men who do such things under the power of alcohol are full of remorse the following morning. They can't live with themselves. If Alan had done such a thing, he'd be full of guilt, not accusing his wife of attacking him.
When you arrived at the house, he didn't speak to you?
No, he was in a state of shock.
Are you sure it wasn't a state of alcoholic amnesia?
Yes, I'm sure.
And you're convinced that he remembers the events of that evening, are you?
His wife told me when she phoned up. She said, "I've stabbed Alan. I lost control."
But you said that she was hysterical.
She was.
Well, then what she was saying must have been a jumble, words through sobs and hysteria.
Some of it made sense.
But what if she'd said, "I stabbed Alan, lost control"?
But that's practically the same thing.
No, not quite the same thing. Perhaps she said he lost control. Perhaps you didn't quite catch the first word, and you filled in with one that fitted in with what you wanted to believe.
Wanted to believe?
You have been asked to give evidence in the court and passed, haven't you?
Yes.
And you've been subpoenaed.
Yes.
But you didn't appear.
No.
Why not?
The relationship with the patient is confidential.
You would never give evidence against a patient, would you? That would betray trust, wouldn't it? That shows an admirable trait in your character, Mrs. Muddy. It also shows why you're prepared to believe the iniquitous charges against this innocent woman.
The cases in Colchester are fictitious. Join us again tomorrow when the Queen against Clenell will be concluded in the Crown Court. Petra Clenell is on trial on a charge of wounding with intent to cause grievous bodily harm. Her husband, Alan Clenell, has claimed that his wife attacked and stabbed him 3 times with a large pair of scissors. The prosecution case closed with the evidence of Mrs. Joyce Murray, a counsellor at the Fulchester Alcoholic Centre where Alan Clenell has been a patient. She told the court how she was telephoned by Petra Clenell, who was hysterical and shouting, "I've stabbed my husband, I lost control." Today, the defence start their case, and Petra Clenell will have her chance of putting her version of what happened that night.
Mrs. Clenell, will you tell the court what happened on the evening of September the 17th last year?
My husband phoned me at about 6 o'clock and said he was going to be late home.
Did he explain why?
He said a Japanese delegation had placed some big orders and that he was taking them to the club for a drink.
Did he say how long he might be?
He said about an hour. He said to have dinner ready for 7:30, and I said that would be fine. We could eat with the children.
And what time did he eventually arrive home?
Sally went to bed about 9:30, and he came in some time after that. I was sitting by the fire. I was bored with television. I'd put a record on. I hadn't turned the television off. I'd just turned the sound down.
Why did you leave it on?
Kept my eyes busy. I was cutting out a paper pattern. Well, anything to keep my mind occupied so I wouldn't have to think. They were distractions.
Distractions from what?
Worrying about Alan. He'd told me 3 weeks ago that he'd started social drinking. I knew he'd started long before that because I could smell it, and I knew it was only a matter of time before he had a relapse. When he hadn't arrived home by 8:30, I went round the house searching.
And what were you looking for?
The hidden bottle. I found it. A bottle of gin in the central heating cupboard. And when he came home, I knew it had happened.
How did you know?
Because he sounded quite drunk. 4 hours in a drinking atmosphere had been too much for him. And I suddenly felt this enormous hostility. I'd always looked on his drinking as an illness before, you see, and that's how I'd coped with it. But this time I thought, well, he could have come home. He needn't have stayed at the club. It was his choice to stay and drink. I suddenly felt quite helpless. He asked me where the children were. I didn't reply. I knew I wasn't going to be able to cope. Perhaps if I'd been a different sort of woman, this would never have happened.
You mean your husband's alcoholism?
Yes, that. And the fights. This. Everything. He crossed to the record player and he turned it off. He said, "You don't want that rubbish, do you?" And then he went into the kitchen and he banged about in there for a while, and then he shouted, "Where's my supper?" And then he came back into the sitting room and I said, "Your supper's on the stove." And he said, "I don't mean that rubbish. I'm talking about my liquid supper. Have you been at the central heating cupboard?" And he told me if I had, that he'd break my neck. And I told him that if he touched me, I'd kill him. He called me a bloody, sanctimonious, self-righteous bitch. And I went on making the dress. I was cutting it out. But I couldn't help myself. I said, "So you had a good time, did you?" And he said, "Come to heel, bitch. Facetious bitches are liable to get their mouths punched in."
Were you in any way prepared for this self-generated aggression?
Prepared? No. You're never prepared. It followed a pattern, you see, the drinking. When he was drinking regularly, he was manageable. He only got like this when he'd had a drink over his alcoholic need and got himself drunk. Well, I thought the best thing that I could do under the circumstances was to go to bed. So I said I'd see him in the morning, and I asked him if he'd sleep in the spare room. I crossed the room and I passed him, and he suddenly slapped the side of my face and knocked me against the wall. I couldn't hear properly for a minute. I screamed. It was such a shock. It was so sudden. I just felt this burning pain from the blow. I felt violated.
And what happened next?
Well, I just stared at him. And then he stopped and he said, "You'd like me locked up, wouldn't you?" Well, I told him I couldn't go through with it all again.
Go through what exactly?
Finding bottles when he tells me he's stopped. Drinking champagne to celebrate that he's cured. Yes, he did that. It's quite funny, really, if you don't live with it. The walkings out and the reconciliations, the coming home late, the excuses, the lies, the rows, the good days, the promises, the hoping.
You told him you couldn't go through all that again?
Yes, I told him I was going to leave him this time.
And how did he react?
He said there's another man.
And was there?
It's a bit difficult for a woman with children.
Your husband stopped railing at you?
Yes, for the moment.
Your threatening to leave him was a shock to him?
Well, he just kept shouting, "Who is he? Who is he? Who is he?" And I yelled, "There's no one, no one." And then he came towards me and made a grab, and I said if he touched me, I'd kill him. And then he went to the sideboard, and he got my handbag out. He spilled everything onto the floor, and he scrambled around like a dog, pawing at my belongings.
And what was he looking for?
He was searching for a photograph of my lover. And he told me when he found it, he'd throttle me. He thought there must be someone, because how could I manage without him? He tried to put me down. I told him that I'd get a job, that I could study for something. He tried to put me down. And I realized that 16 years of living with him had totally demoralized me. And then he stopped looking for the photograph. He stood up. And I thought, oh, thank God he's played himself out. And then he moved to pass me. And he turned. And he got me by the throat and he forced me against the wall. And I thought, this is it. This is the end. And I think I would have given up if it hadn't been for my children.
and my hand was free. And I got my hand round his back, and I stuck the scissors in. He let go of me and clutched his back, and I felt as if I were mad, as if he were mad. I mean, a minute ago I'd been sitting listening to a record, and then he came at me again, and I stabbed him again. And then we fell on the floor, and he got his hands round my throat, and the scissors went into his leg. He stood up. It was then that Sal, my daughter, came in. He passed out a minute later.
And then you telephoned Mrs. Murray?
Yes, I did.
Now, why didn't you telephone for an ambulance?
Well, I was afraid that if I did that I'd have to tell them that he was trying to kill me.
So you weren't frightened for yourself?
For myself?
That you might be charged with assault?
It never even entered my head.
Now, when you telephoned Mrs. Murray, did you say, "I've stabbed my husband, I lost control"?
No, I didn't say that. My husband was attacking me, and I was defending myself.
Do you remember what you said on the telephone?
No, I'm sorry, I don't remember.
Now, she came over within 5 minutes and rang for an ambulance straight away. Did you talk about what had happened?
Well, she asked me, but I didn't tell her.
Why was that?
Because I didn't like her. When I cared about Alan, she made me very jealous.
Did you suspect them of being lovers?
Their patient-counselor relationship was very close. She always made me feel like an outsider, as if I were the guilty one. But you see, she didn't have to cope with the reality.
Thank you, Mrs. Clenell.
Thank you.
Now, Mrs. Clenell, you claim your husband came home staggering about.
No, I didn't say he was staggering about. He was drunk. He wasn't staggering about.
Oh, very well, that he was drunk and that he threw his dinner away, smashed you in the face because you'd hidden his drink.
Yes, he did that.
Yes, and that he then grabbed you by the throat and tried to strangle you.
Yes.
And you are telling this court that your husband was following a pattern of behavior, that you lived with a man for 16 years who continually behaved like this.
No, I didn't say that.
Well, that's exactly what you said.
Well, I didn't mean it.
Well, you better explain exactly what you meant then.
When we first married, I didn't really know how much Alan was drinking. I really didn't think about it very much. Alan, in the company of his friends, was always good for a laugh. And after the birth of our first child, I didn't go out with him so much. He got a job in the management side of his company, and he had much more to do. He had more engagements. But when we did go out to dinners or parties, he always drank a very great deal, and I began to worry about it. I spoke to his friends about it, and they just laughed. They gave me very little sympathy. Drink is a drug accepted by this society. I suppose if I'd said, my husband's on heroin. Well, everybody seemed to be having such a marvelous time, I decided to start drinking as well. And in the beginning, I quite enjoyed it. I entered into the part, if you like. But then I couldn't keep it up. I began to feel very ill, so I dropped out. I watched Alan drinking day after day, week after week. I went to my doctor, and he gave me some tranquilizers. And then I rang up Alcoholics Anonymous. And they told me that Alan would have to go to them of his own free will. Well, I spoke to Alan about it, and he was furious. He said there was nothing wrong with him. He began to repel me physically. He always smelt of stale drink and tobacco. He started burning holes in the sheets and the carpet. Well, by this time he knew he was ill. He knew there was something wrong, but he wouldn't do anything about it. He began to blame me. He was bitter, and he was very resentful. And socially, he was charming. He began to get very jealous. He burnt my clothes, and he broke my jewellery in drunken rages. That's what I mean by patterns of behaviour.
Yes, and did these patterns, as you call them, involve physical violence on you?
Not on me, no.
No.
I might have defended myself. In a drunken fit, he attacked.
He attacked what?
He attacked.
What did he attack, Mrs. Clenell?
He murdered our baby.
Murdered your baby? Do you mean that?
Yes, I do.
Mr. Sissons?
My lord, I know nothing about this matter.
Well, I think we should adjourn while you make some inquiries.
All stand.
Well?
It's true.
He murdered the child?
That the baby died.
How long ago?
11 years.
God, what a mess. The things people do to each other, eh? What about the police? I hope to God it was all official.
Yes, I managed to talk to the detective in charge.
And how did she say it happened?
Well, she says that her husband came home and started his jealous bit off again. Seems he was getting pathologically jealous. He started asking her how many lovers she'd had, and then he said he didn't think their second child was his. Apparently he went on, and eventually to shut him up, she said, all right, he's not yours. He went up the stairs, took the baby out of the cot, and banged its head against the wall. Just once. Superintendent. Superintendent Keel, Mr. Golding.
No.
Thanks for coming in.
As a matter of fact, I was in another court. Now, look, I've not gone through the file because I've not been back to the station. But I do remember the case very well. My wife had just had a baby, so it made quite an impression.
Did the police bring any charge?
No, there was a contusion on the crown of his head, but no other wounds or any injury.
And how did they say it happened?
Husband picked up the baby, and he dropped it.
But a contusion on the crown of the head, he'd have had to fall upside down. You don't pick a baby up like that.
Well, according to the husband, he took the kid out of the cot, and he, held him here, and he was playing with him, and the kid went over his shoulder.
You get many babies who die like that?
Someone usually gets charged.
And why not in this case?
Well, there's nothing, you see. There was no witness.
The wife?
Oh, why, she was a witness.
What about her story?
Well, at the time, she agreed with her husband's story.
Had he been drinking?
Well, by the time I arrived, he'd had a few. His wife said it was the shock.
Do you think she was trying to cover up for him?
There was no evidence to substantiate that supposition.
But what do you
Look,
think?
what can you do? The wife agreed with the husband's story. There was no witness. Believe me, you're up against it.
Well, what do you think?
Well, if she sticks to the murder accusation, it won't do her any good. I mean, I can knock holes in that. Vindictive distortion.
Oh, thanks for coming in, Superintendent.
And if she sticks to her story, they could both be on trial for that kid.
Well, Marcus, who's going to tell them?
You may as well. Some better coming from you.
My lord, there was a child who died, but due to the circumstances, no charge was brought.
What were the circumstances?
Due to a lack of evidence, my lord. The only witness was the accused, and at the time she stated that the child's death was an accident. Death by misadventure was brought in.
Mrs. Clenell, do you wish to say anything?
I'm sorry I said it.
You know, you've done yourself no good by making this false accusation against your husband. You may continue, Mr. Golding.
My lord. You were at university with your husband, you said.
Yes.
It was a happy time?
Yes.
Your husband took a first-class honours degree.
Yes.
And you took a double first.
Yes.
What did you read?
Science.
And your husband?
Science.
You were cleverer than he was.
No.
There must have been some reason for your gaining a double first, Mrs. Clenell.
He lacked creative flair.
In science?
Science at its highest level can be considered creative thought.
You didn't go on to take your doctorate.
No.
You got married instead.
Well, you know I did.
Although you had brilliant prospects in front of you.
I loved Alan.
You gave everything up for him.
We got married.
You could have gone on with your career.
We decided to have children.
Your husband tried for his doctorate.
He failed.
That must have been a great disappointment.
We all have to find our own level.
But you were ambitious for him, weren't you?
Well, isn't any wife?
You pushed him hard, didn't you? Channeled your considerable talents towards pushing him.
I loved him.
But he couldn't cope, could he, Mrs. Clenell? He's already told us he started drinking when he had to confront board meetings as one of the directors.
I think Alan might have been better with another woman. I think I pushed him too hard. But the tendency towards drink was always in his makeup. I admit I might have been the catalyst.
Yes, and over the years your resentment towards your husband grew, didn't it? You'd thrown away a promising career, a brilliant career from what I've been told, and you found yourself married to someone who was, on your terms, pretty mediocre. Do you deny that?
We all have to find our own level.
Yes, but as the years slipped by and you had a family, you began to see yourself as pretty mediocre, didn't you? Being married wasn't enough for you, was it?
It wasn't a marriage. Not a proper marriage. You don't stay close to an alcoholic. You nurse him. You watch him. You don't trust him.
You ended up not trusting your own husband, yes. You even thought he was having an affair with his counsellor, Joyce Murray.
I knew he preferred being with her.
Could that have been because she didn't make him feel a failure, Mrs. Clenell? Could that be because she didn't put him down?
She hadn't lived with him for 16 years and had her life destroyed by him.
Exactly. And that is why you lost control and tried to kill your husband, isn't it, Mrs. Clenell? You'd spent 16 years with him, 16 of the most important years of your life, and he had, in your eyes, taken them from you and destroyed you.
You twist everything in this legal game.
You're the one who twists everything, Mrs. Clenell, even to the point of accusing your husband of murdering your own child.
It was the drink. It was through the drink.
Mr. Golding, that is a matter that has little relevance to this trial. Come now to the events of September the 17th. That is the only issue that this jury have to decide. Mrs. Clenell, are you quite well?
Yes, thank you.
Very well. Give her a chair.
No, I feel less unequal on my feet.
Well, I consider you to be at least my equal, Mrs. Clenell.
Oh, I don't mean you. I mean all this, the whole machinery. You're on your own territory.
You did attack your husband, didn't you?
Yes, verbally, I attacked him.
And then physically.
He tried to tell me I couldn't manage without him. He told me that I couldn't manage if he went, if he went, and he tried to put me down. Well, he believed it. He had been doing it, and I'd let him. If you spend a lot of your time with children, you begin to believe anything. You begin to believe you're a vegetable. I told him he was the failure. He was the one who wouldn't manage when I went. He needed a mother, not a wife. He was my third child, not a husband, not a man. He knew that was true. He knew it was the truth. He resented it, and that is why he attacked me.
And he tried to strangle you?
Yes.
Got his hands round your throat?
Yes.
And started to throttle the life out of you, and then, terrified for your life, you stabbed him in the back.
Yes.
And yet the doctor who examined you a little after your husband was taken to hospital found no marks around your neck.
The side of my head was bruised and swollen.
Oh, your husband admitted that he struck you on the side of the head. He did that after you had stabbed him in the back. He was trying to defend himself.
No, I didn't.
Didn't what? Didn't stab him?
Yes. I'm confused. You're confusing.
Confused about what happened?
I was going to bed and he came at me.
Yes. Do you usually take scissors to bed with you?
What?
You were going to bed with the scissors.
When?
You crossed the room to go to bed. Your husband made a grab at you, pushed you against the wall, and then a moment later you were stabbing him. Now, where did the scissors come from?
Well, I had them in my hand.
Were you taking them to bed?
I hadn't put them down.
Do you normally take a large pair of scissors to bed with you, Mrs.
No!
No, because you weren't going to bed, were you, Mrs. Clenell? You looked at your husband, drinking again, and you despised him for his weakness, and you tried to kill him, didn't you?
I looked at my husband, and I thought I must now acknowledge failure. I've taken charge of you. I've managed your house. I've helped you. I've covered up for you. I've hidden everything from your children. I've protected you. I've been your mother more than your wife. I did not attack my husband.
Members of the jury, the charge in this case is wounding with intent to do grievous bodily harm. The issue is not whether or not the accused caused her husband's injuries. That has been admitted. But what was her intention? If you consider that she attacked her husband, then she is guilty and you will bring in such a verdict. But if you believe that her husband attacked her and that she was defending herself and had no intention of causing bodily harm, then you will find the accused not guilty. You must ask yourselves whether the attack was so violent and so prolonged as to justify her firstly in using scissors and secondly in using them more than once. You will now retire and elect a foreman who will speak for you and consider your verdict.
All stand. Members of the jury, will your foreman please stand? Just answer the question yes or no. Have you reached a verdict on which you're all agreed?
Yes.
Do you find the accused, Petra Clenell, guilty or not guilty of wounding with intent to cause grievous bodily harm on Alan Clenell?
Guilty.
Petra Clenell, you have been found guilty of a violent attack upon your husband, an attack in which you sought your own retribution and revenge. Now, that is something that the law of this country will not allow. I have thought most carefully about this case, and because I think that both you and your husband need help, and because there are no previous convictions, I sentence you to a term of 3 years imprisonment, suspended for 2 years. I'm doing this so that you may seek and obtain help.